Hello again, everyone. In this video, I wanted to do just a quick example of why Steven Anderson is very dangerous teacher, if you want to call him that. I just kind of keep an eye on some of the things that he's coming out with once in a while, and to give you a little bit of context, what we're going to be looking at. He's comparing the King James Bible to modern versions. I didn't watch, this is his Wednesday evening service from December 31st. I've watched about 35 minutes of it, and I can tell you he points out some good things in the video. However, this one piece that we're going to look at, it's very short, gives you just a classic example of how he teaches. He'll teach some good things, which you can watch. If you watch the first 35 minutes, he points out some good things. And then he'll try to point something out, but then he'll omit something to make it sound like a good story, or to make it sound more, appealing. This is just something I'm going to show you in this video is something that I dealt with all through the Israel Moment videos. Whether it's something simple like this, I don't know why he does it. It's just not. It's not really relevant, because what he's pointing out is, in fact, he's pointing out the errors or I guess you could say satanic perversions of the modern version Bibles. And he tries to build this little satanic kind of conspiracy that once you take out 12 verses in Mark, you end up with 666 verses in the book of Mark. We'll just take a look, and then I'll point out to you what he's leaving out. So I'll just start the video here. It's about 2 minutes. It sounds like a really good story. However, it's just not true.
Now, when you look at the book of Mark, it has, in your King James Bible, 678 verses. So if you were to just count up quickly, you could just go to the end of chapter 1 and see, okay, chapter 1 has 45 verses, chapter 2 has 28 verses, chapter 3 has 35, etc. And if you put those into a calculator, your 16 chapters, you would end up with 678 verses in the book of Mark. And what's funny is that if you were to take out these verses that they're telling you, hey, these aren't original, verses 9 through 20 in chapter 16, right? That's 12 verses. So if you were to take out these 12 verses that they're saying are not original, instead of having 678 verses, you'd have 666 verses in a book that's called Mark. And what does the Bible say is the mark of the beast? 666. Okay, and people will say, oh, Pastor Anderson, you fool. Don't you know that in the original there were no verse divisions? Yeah, except we're not talking about the original, because the original didn't take out this section anyway. We're talking about the NIV tonight. And the NIV, last time I checked, is an English translation that has verse numbers. And it's called Mark. And it wants to remove 12 verses from the end of the book of Mark, leaving a book of Mark that has 666 verses in it.
Okay. It sounds pretty neat. It sounds very interesting. Wow, the book of Mark has 678 verses. And if you take out the last 12 verses of the book of Mark, which the modern versions do say that they don't belong there, that's true, you end up with 666 verses. Wow, sounds really satanic. Well, it is. I mean, the perversions are satanic. However, what he's leaving out is that the book of Mark in the modern versions, they also take out 5 other verses. I can give those to you real quick. Mark 7:16, Mark 9:44, 9:46, 11:26, and 15:28. So he creates this neat little story. It sounds really good, but he omits the other 5 verses that are taken out, which doesn't make the story sound as good when you end up with 661 verses, which is, this is a classic example of how he teaches. He gives you half-truth. Yes, they do take out 12 verses, but they also take out 5 other verses. This is the exact way that he teaches all throughout the Israel Moment videos, the way he teaches his post-trib doctrine. He gives you parts of the truth, but then he leaves out other stuff that will debunk his teaching or not make it sound so interesting, which is just, it's a disingenuous way to teach. It's wrong. It's bad. So that's why Steven Anderson is so dangerous. Something as innocent as this, why do you need to fabricate that little story? You don't need to do that. But he does that with everything. I don't know what it is. It's a pride issue. He has the devil on him, makes him lie once in a while. However, he mixes in some other good teaching. It makes him very dangerous. But I think he's a saved man. You listen to enough of his stuff. I don't think he's a Jesuit plant. I don't think he's... You listen to his teaching, if you can stand to listen to him. I guess the Lord's given me a meek enough spirit that I can stand to listen to him, I guess. But if you listen to him, I think he's a saved man. He teaches some good things, but he teaches a lot of error, and that's not good. That's why you can't really listen to him unless you know what the truth is. If you're a young Christian, if you're a weaker in the faith, he's not somebody that you want to listen to. I don't really listen to him really to learn anything anyway. But he does, he does teach some good things. He points out the truth of the King James Bible. He points out some things. He points out some things that the modern versions changed. It's true. In Doctrines of Devils, there is truth, but there's also errors that will shipwreck your faith. So that's why you can't listen to him. Anyway, I've gone on long enough. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.